Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Windshield Time, the podcast where we help you use your windshield time to turn learning into earning. My name is Chris Elmore, and Windshield Time is brought to you by Service Excellence, as always. Joining me again today is my good buddy, Harold James Walker Jr. And today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about competence, confidence, and control, the 3 C's. So hang on just a second. I don't need you, Wild Thing, Tone Loke. Just sorry. I'm sure Mr. Loke. I'm sure.
Excuse me.
I'm sure
Mr. Loke.
I'm sure Mr. Loke is a great guy.
Yeah.
Don't care for his music at all.
There you go. I got you.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
And I'm disappointing all those 80s lovers out there. But
yeah.
Sorry, not a fan of Senior Loke.
If you get thrown into a car on a road trip for 4 hours and you have to listen to one CD,
I've done that.
Yes,
I've done that.
Okay.
A long time ago, my buddy Jason and I were heading from Virginia Beach up to Landover, Maryland, to watch the Washington Capitals play a hockey game.
Keep going.
Hold on, let me kick you under the table. Wake up. So anyway, we get on the road, and I got this little tiny Toyota truck, 4-speed.
Oh, yeah.
And my big thing about it was I had to put a new radio in it.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
And big speakers behind the seat, because this just had the little 3-inch speakers.
Little tweeters.
And so I did all that. I was super pumped about it. I had this big stack of cassettes in a case. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, totally. The cassette case, like back to back. Oh yeah.
And so I had all that and packed my bag for overnight, and we jumped in the truck and we're on the road, and we get 30 minutes down the road. We'd been talking about something. 30 minutes down the road, and he's like, "Where's your cassettes?" I'm like, "Oh no, I forgot them." And so I was like, "I don't know if I have any." So we pulled over, and I found one cassette in the car.
What was it?
In the truck.
What was it?
The B-52s.
Yeah, Love Shack. That's the only song of theirs that I know.
Roam if you want to.
Oh,
so
roam if you want to.
No, that's not the way it goes. But
roam around the world.
Okay, the words are right, but the tone is
everything else is wrong,
Mr. Loke. But that's all we had, and that's what we listened to all the way to DC and all the way home.
Oh my gosh!
So I've done that before. But right now, if I had to pick one,
yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If you had to pick it from like the '80s, and it's just one album that you could listen to,
I would say probably Crowded House.
Oh, okay.
Crowded House.
Oh, I got you. Mine would be Joshua Tree from the '80s.
You too.
Me as well. Yes.
The hot deaf girl, Laura, in my 10th grade history class, loaned me that cassette
because I bet she had a tough time listening to it.
No, she could hear, but she wore hearing aids, and she had grown up with partial hearing. So
gotcha.
Anyway, she was cute.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But hey, 10th grade,
dude.
Pretty much all of them are
the peak of.
But I would say if I had to pick one from the '80s, if you could pick one all time, what would it be?
Jeez, oh man, I can't do that. There's some soundtracks of my life type stuff. You had the Nirvana, you had some Coldplay back in the 2000s. I don't know, man. Probably like a greatest hits from somebody. The Police, Sting was good. Go ahead.
I think I'd probably pick the Eagles' greatest hits.
Oh yeah, that's fair. We're not going to get back onto that though. We already had a whole
episode
truck that people were texting me about.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Flat top truck.
Nobody has texted me ever in the history of my podcast at the end of the show. Like, call me or text me. And they're like, hey,
you missed a line and Take It Easy by the Eagles.
Not missed a line. You completely butchered the whole essence of the song.
Here's the thing. Even Alex knew that.
I knew it. It was just on
Sure you
the
did.
spur of the moment. Flat-top truck.
Was that? Did you just snort?
No.
Alex, did he just snort?
I snorted. You snorted.
I didn't snort. You snorted.
Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. We're good.
My stomach hurts. Well, let's get into this.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's one of the things I think is a big challenge for technicians, or for especially for young technicians in the trade, is we talked about the three. I mentioned the 3 C's, but competence, confidence, and control. And I think the biggest hindrance to new technicians today is their lack of confidence.
Sure.
And that's not a fault. That's not a, hey, we're pointing a finger at you if that's you. It's just that's one of the things you've got to build and you kind of overcome that gap when you're a new technician, because it affects everything that you do.
I think the most contagious thing about a service professional is their confidence. Like,
ooh,
yeah, I think that's what's contagious.
Look into this camera and say that again.
The most contagious thing about a service professional is their confidence or lack thereof, because the customer catches what you believe about yourself and about the situation and about the pricing for the situation. And fundamentally, you could come in and say, well, this is, probably $200 or $300, or you can come in and say, this is 10 grand. And I'm not saying that we supersize a price just to get it, but what I am saying is what people catch about us is our belief in what we say, and that what we say is valid. But to be fair, a lot of the reasons young technicians don't have a lot of confidence is because they don't have a lot of experience, and they feel like, well, I don't know, I'm not really sure. So yeah, there's some justification. It's imposter syndrome a bit with some of those guys.
Yeah, it is. And I think that what we want to break down today is how you can overcome that, and the reason we put them in the order that we did, competence first, confidence, and then control, is because confidence is driven by, at least in a technical trade, it's driven by your knowledge.
Sure.
Primarily. That's the foundation of your confidence, is your knowledge. Because you can always fall back on the technical knowledge you have. And we get back into that thing about, we've talked about it before, and efficiency versus effectiveness, and do you sacrifice effectiveness for efficiency?
Yeah.
And we've talked about places where that happens, but technology is just part of, the change in technology has been part of life forever.
Sure.
One day Ugg is just walking around with a club on his shoulder, and he's dragging things around, and then the next day his cave neighbor comes by, and what is that?
Wheel?
What is that thing he's got? It's a wheel,
Yeah.
right? And now totally changes Ugg's life,
Yeah.
right?
Ugg mobile now.
Ugg roll, not drag. So this is not me lamenting new technology at all. It's just the fact that new technology comes along and changes things. I was reading an article probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I wish I could find it. I wish I could remember what it was, but there was something that stood out, and it was an article about how technology is affecting everyday life, especially for kids. And there was a quote in it that was written, and that the guy was citing, or the author was citing, and it was something to the effect of, this amount of information and knowledge in such a small package and so portable is going to corrupt the kids of today, because now they'll walk around with their heads down looking at their hands while the world passes them by.
Yeah.
Now, what year do you think that was said?
Well, he said it was a couple of years ago.
Well, no, the article, but they cited the quote.
Oh. Yeah, I would bet that's. It's interesting. This is time immemorial. Like you're going to say 1950s? I don't know.
1700s. Yeah. I don't know exactly when handheld books came out.
Right.
And they were more than pamphlets. They were actual books came out. And isn't it interesting? Like, if you drive past a bus stop today, Like in my neighborhood, there's tons of kids in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And when I leave work, when school's in, I drive past a bus stop where there's a bunch of junior high kids, and there's probably a dozen kids on this corner.
Yeah.
And most days when you drive by there and see them, they're all looking down at their phones and they're all standing apart from each other.
Sure.
And so that's to that point.
As opposed to us in junior high, like offering each other cigarettes, hanging out on the corner.
Yeah. Stuff like that, I guess.
Youth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the point is we do have the accessibility of things
Sure.
right in the palm of our hand, of course, and I'm not that's not a news flash, everybody. So when like if you think about a technician today, and this is kind of a side thing to it, but when you think about a technician today, now short-term intense programs for training are more readily available.
For sure.
You can go to a school for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. You can actually stay there.
Right.
And really condensed,
hands-on,
long days, hands-on, lab, all this kind of stuff, and do that training. But also what can happen is you don't have to do that, and you might be a helper or an apprentice at a company, and you just ride with senior technicians, and you end up learning as you go. But also you can be watching YouTube videos and other kind of training things, in the evenings or just whenever you want, and you can consume a lot of information. And I think what that's done is it's created a situation where now we can accumulate, or we can consume so much information that we become familiar with things in a short amount of time, and we think, in air quotes, like we know them without gaining the experience that goes with it.
Fair.
And you cannot accelerate time. I don't know if you knew that.
This is profound. Look into the camera and say
you cannot accelerate time.
There you go.
So what we can do is, before you had the access to this type of training and the technology we have today where you can go online and get everything, these days most states have some sort of term of which you have to work under a master or a certified tradesman before you can work independently, right?
Yeah.
And the reason those things are in place was to make sure you had a certain amount of hours of experience. Now, your experience could be different. It could be Jesse Olson at the Happy Outlet and I were talking about this the other day, where the quality of experience is also a factor. And so the question then is competence. How do you gain competence? Because it used to be prescribed. Like when I went through apprenticeship school, it was 4 years. And you worked during the day and went to school at night.
Yeah.
And that's how you got experience and knowledge, and they overlapped. Now, of course, you didn't just have to gain knowledge in a classroom 3 nights a week. You could go and do extra work. You could go practice yourself doing things. Those kind of things you could do. You could grab technical manuals and other kind of training materials you could get. I mean, you couldn't go online and get all that stuff. So what happened was the apprenticeship program that was 4 years long, while you might be able to qualify for a journeyman after 2 or 3 years, the program was 4 years. And if you think about Gladwell's book, was it Outliers?
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours, right? You got to have 10,000 hours before you're considered an expert. But again, that's a blanket statement. It's a rule of thumb because your 10,000 hours have to be quality.
Right.
At a certain level of quality for you to be an expert.
Yeah.
Right? So, for instance, you could spend 4 years as an apprentice electrician doing nothing but new construction installations.
Right.
Are you an expert at home electrical systems?
No.
You're probably the expert at how they're built and put together.
Yeah.
But do you know how to troubleshoot them
and
find problems with existing electrical systems? So you'd be hard-pressed to say from within the trade that is an expert.
Right.
Now they're very highly skilled because they know how
Sure.
to bend conduit and strip, do all the stuff that's the task-based work of installing an electrical system, which is a good skill,
Right.
but it doesn't necessarily translate to
Sure.
troubleshooting. And so what happens now today is back then there was only so much you could do to shortcut the gaining of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you had to physically read things,
Sure.
physically study things. You had to be where someone was doing it to watch them do it.
Right.
When you were on a job, if you wanted technical support, you called one of the manufacturers, a supply house, or another technician in the company. And they had to go by the descriptions you were
Right.
telling them because you couldn't send them pictures. You couldn't do video
Yeah.
chat with them and all that. And so what's happened with, I think the confidence thing is still there
Mm-hmm.
because now I think, or it's exacerbated by when I was in apprenticeship school, I wasn't expected to do much more than be a maintenance tech or a helper. That was
Right.
it because I had not finished school. I had not been in the field long enough.
Yeah.
Today, you go to work for a company, you're almost expected to be producing revenue and working in the field within 6 months.
Yeah. And what's interesting as well is when you had a historical mentorship program as an apprentice and they knew that you were being trained up into the way of doing things, they were maybe even at some levels more engaging than they might even be today. Because I know a lot of times now with apprentices, they're kind of like gophers in a second set of hands.
Yeah.
Because there's this assumption, well, you can get this training elsewhere.
Yes.
And by default, we kind of just relegate that to now rather than me tutoring you into a way of doing things. I just need you to run parts. And I've got guys that are about 4 years about to test out, and they don't even really know what they're doing because they've just been the second set of hands as a helper for 4 years.
Yeah, and I think what was part of the trades back then is not quite part of the trades
Right.
as much today. Now, let me say this. There are apprenticeship programs out there where you do go to classes while you work.
Yeah.
There are prescribed training paths.
Mm-hmm. And there's some companies that do a great job of putting a senior technician and this is what we're going to work on next. But by and large, you've been doing this long enough. A ton of those guys, it's just learn by osmosis and
Go
just
ride
kind of
with
pick
that
it up.
guy.
Just kind of
Yeah, he's our best tech. Go ride with that guy. Or that guy, he's our best plumber. You ride with him for a while.
Yeah.
And the challenge with that is we transfer the same bad habits, the same attitudes over to a fresh new mind if we put them with a person who is that crotchety, crusty old veteran, right? And
For sure.
of course, not everybody's like that. There are some, but for the most part, I think most.
Some people would say that kind of like defines your and my relationship.
Yeah, you're the crusty part. Yes.
Keep going.
Oh, okay.
I am who I am because under your tutelage,
I doubt that.
the rough edges and all.
There's no way that this could produce that.
I love how Alex said, "All right, let's get ready for the camera this morning, Chris. Just fix your hair. That's it. That's all we
Just
can.
run your hand through there.
Just run your hand through here. Here you go.
We don't have time for the rest.
Yeah.
So, but I think in talking about the timelines and things, so competence comes from gaining knowledge, but also gaining experience.
Yeah.
You cannot shortcut experience. It just can't happen. So what we have is a mismatch
Mhm.
now, or what would you say, non-alignment.
Yeah.
Where if you have to get the knowledge given to you from an expert over time, and you have to work in the field for a certain amount of hours to be qualified to be certified. That was in sync. It was aligned.
Sure.
Now, it's not necessarily aligned because there are still some states, for instance, that doesn't matter what you know or if you can pass a test until you have worked in the field under a master or otherwise certified for 2 years. You cannot do work independently. There's some states that do that. Here in Texas, congratulations, James, you're an HVAC tech.
Right. Same in California, believe it or not. Like plumbing, they're like, can you spell cat?
So, PLU. So, when we have that thing that out of sync,
Mm-hmm.
situation where I can gain the knowledge. A person can gain the knowledge I gained in 4 years of apprenticeship school now, which ultimately, if you count 9 hours a week for 36 weeks, how long do kids go to school now? 35 weeks?
I don't know. We'll say that.
Whatever. Alex, what's 9 times 35?
9 times 30 is 270, right? And then 45.
315.
315.
What? Times 4. 1260.
Mm-hmm.
That's how many hours of training I had in classroom.
Mm-hmm.
For 4 years of working, and I had 1,260 hours in the classroom and 8,000 hours in the field, roughly.
Sure.
Right? That 1,260 hours of classroom time can be condensed now.
Yeah.
Because the knowledge, it didn't take 3 hours to impart the knowledge to us,
right.
the content to us, right?
Yeah.
And so that was because a human was delivering it. And so it won't take that long today.
Yeah.
And because of that, and because you can go to these intense programs, and you can watch videos anytime you want for training.
Forget intense programs. Just ChatGPT. I mean, I'm hyperbolizing
that could be a part of it, but also
but let's just say if you threw a guy out there and you're like, hey, I got a TXV on a train XV18 unit and blah blah blah. You can look some of that stuff up and get a ton of knowledge. But
a ton and a half unit, James.
Yeah.
XV18 is a ton and a half. I've never seen one of those.
I had an XV18 and it was a 3-ton. So anyway,
just messing with you.
Okay, I was about to say. So, but the issue is not knowledge. The issue is that the separation between wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom is knowledge well applied, and it's not knowing what to do; it's knowing when to do it that defines, competence.
Yeah, and like even today, what we can do, just like the auto industry now, is like you just plug the diagnostic computer into the car and it tells you what's wrong.
Right.
I mean, heck, you don't even have to go to a mechanic for that anymore. You can order your own.
Sure.
Right. And so HVAC kind of follows the auto industry. And I know for HVAC now, because of if you think about the difference in the trades too, electrical and plumbing are mostly visual troubleshooting. It's looking to see if this condition exists, if it's not readily visible.
Sure.
With HVAC, it's a little different. And this is not me saying it's more technical. That's not what I'm saying. It just means that with HVAC, I can't look and see what the air temperature is or the relative humidity. I can't see the pressures and temperatures of the I can't see all those things.
Right.
Now, I can see the condition of things, cleanliness, etc. But now with HVAC, I can grab a probe, a test kit with probes in it, and I just put probes everywhere. And I can measure pretty much anything I need with a set of probes, connect it to my iPad, and it will diagnose the system for me, just like the diagnostic computer on a car.
Or like a doctor with probes. Keep going.
I don't know what kind of doctor you go to. Does he drive a brown Ford?
This is a Ford probe.
So you can do that stuff now where you still you can even shortcut troubleshooting the diagnostic part, and at the heart of it, troubleshooting is what? It's here's what it should be.
Right. And
what it should be is set by fundamentals of just the trade or fundamentals of just the basics of an electrical system, right? There's fundamentals there. But then there's also code requirements, and there's also best practices that you hope are encapsulated in code. So all that stuff's is captured there, so you know what should be.
Right.
And now you have to have the ability to measure and assess what is.
Right. Expectation versus reality.
Okay. Yeah. So being able to assess the condition is not troubleshooting.
Right.
Being able to assess the condition is
finding.
Oh, I like and you laughed at your own joke. I like that.
Yeah, not the first time.
So clever. You're just so clever. But that is, assessing the condition of a system, whatever system we're talking about, is not troubleshooting. It's not diagnosing. It's discovery.
Right.
And it's exploring. right?
Mhm.
And so you do that with the aid of a checklist. You do that with the aid of meters and
Yeah,
gauges and your
probes.
eyeballs, touch, your senses. You do all that, and then you get that. And then after you do that enough, and either someone or some app or whatever tells you, okay, based on what you have, here is the reason it's not what is or what should be. So what is and what should be. Here's why what you have, what is not what it should be, and here's what you need to check or do to make it to what should be.
Yeah.
That is diagnosing, and that is what comes with repetition and experience.
Right.
And so now we can accelerate that.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in the day, you filled out a checklist. This is how I taught myself to troubleshoot. I would do the typical thing of calling a tech support or call another tech, and I tell them what I have. And inevitably, I wouldn't have gotten enough of the readings on an HVAC system for them to do it.
Right.
So I would end up going back. I can where before I had to go through that process. I would say probably it took 3 or 4 times of seeing a condition and being told what the issue was and what I needed to do about it.
Yeah.
About the 3rd or 4th time, I would remember, and I would be most of the way there, but I might still need some confirmation to get confidence now.
Mm-hmm.
So competence came, but then I had to get confidence from it, which means I had to get confirmation about my diagnosis.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. Now, for me to see that condition on a system 4, 5, 6 times took sometimes weeks.
Sure.
Nowadays, you can see that probably 4, 5, 6 times in an hour.
Right.
By watching videos and doing online research and everything. So we can shortcut that in an acceptable way, I think. But you still leave out the real world touch, feel, interaction, physical interaction of actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
So that should, in a combination, even though you still need that real world, you can't speed up time, as I said. But what we can do is we can use the time to our advantage as much as possible.
Sure.
So we can accelerate the gaining of knowledge. We can accelerate the practical application. Because it's like I could watch a video a dozen times on how to do this thing. And the next time I see it in the field, I can probably do it to a certain level of competence.
Right.
But I still need help.
Yeah.
And so I could probably, after physically doing it many, many times, then I'm farther ahead than someone who wasn't able to pack a lot of knowledge in the beginning of their career through videos and things like that.
Yeah.
So competence is gained by knowledge and experience, right? Or competence is gained by knowledge and experience. And we can gain a lot of knowledge now, and we can use the time we have to gain experience more to our advantage and more wisely now because of that. But how do you do that? Well, you practice. We've talked about it on this podcast many, many times. You practice.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever your chosen trade is, I don't care if it's plumbing, electrical, HVAC, you need to be practicing the fundamental skills to then make repairs to things. So that means you practice brazing, you practice soldering, you practice working with PVC, you practice with conduit, you practice stripping wire, you practice making wire connections. You do all these things that are fundamental skills to repairing systems. You work with crimp-on connections and just all kinds of stuff you wouldn't think, oh, it's simple, I can do that. Well, no, you practice. The other thing you do to gain competence is you always be curious and always be in learning mode, because you can always learn. You need to talk to the senior guys in something. You need to ask questions of them.
Yeah.
You need to be a sponge.
Yeah. One thought, I love Kobe Bryant's take on practice. He said, that if the practice isn't harder than the game, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And so you think about those batters in the on deck circle and they're swinging their bats while the other batter is up to bat at the plate, right? They actually have weights that they put on their bats. Why? When they're swinging weighted bats, it makes it faster and easier when they swing a non-weighted bat. The same reason where people use medicine balls or people wear weighted vests when they work out. So when you actually do the application, you've already overtrained to the place of when you come into contact with the real world, it's actually easier. I think that a lot of people's issues and thoughts about practice are, let's just kind of toss a couple of softballs down the plate and get my swing, let me get loosened up. You need to practice with more dedication and rigor than you would actually even go into a game with, because when you do that, the game becomes easy.
Yeah, that's good. And that's part of practice is getting better, but I think part of practice is also mastering fundamentals. That's part of it too. So you got to do both. So so competence is gained through those type of things. And I think what I find that for some people the challenge is that, and I've used this analogy before, it's like think about anybody out there who has kids in a sport, or anybody out there who's been a kid in a sport that had aspirations of playing it at a very high level, right?
Yeah.
Like, you listen to any sports documentary and soccer players. Yeah, I had a ball at my feet when I was 2. I was skating before I could walk.
Yeah.
I just always had a basketball. He slept with his basketball. You know, you hear all those stories. Well, what you don't necessarily hear is that you think about Pop Warner football, Little League football. You start and you don't tackle, and now obviously that's happening later.
Yeah.
You start and you don't play tackle football. But then when you join a team, if you're a kid, you just join a rec league team, you practice and you play maybe once a week, right?
Right.
You have practices leading up to the season, maybe once a week for two or 3 weeks, and then you play. I don't know how many games they play anymore. But then, okay, well, now I think I'm going to try out for my school team, JV. Okay, you make the JV team. What happens in August?
2-a-days.
You do 2-a-days. You practice twice a day. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens during the season? How often do you practice?
Every day.
Every day. And you practice more
Right.
as you advance.
Right. The higher you go, the more professional you are, the more you're practicing and the more diligent you are in practice.
But the other thing happens too is the more intellectual practice and intelligence you have to gain, because when you're a kid playing Pop Warner football, I mean, what is it basically?
Veer left, veer
It's 44 legs and arms going after a football.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing in kids soccer, right?
Yeah.
In baseball, they're hitting off a tee, whatever. And so you're doing, and, in basketball, the ball is smaller and the goal is lower.
Right.
They don't play as long,
Right.
And so it's more about physical fundamentals than it is about intellectual improvement in the game.
Sure.
And typically the kids who have that intellectual piece early go further and they're accelerating the program. And I think Gladwell talks about that in Outliers, right? But if you think about that, the higher you go, the more you practice and the more intellectual expectation is put on you.
Yeah.
Case in point, the NFL does Wonderlic tests, right?
Right.
And who are the most intelligent people based on
Typically
the Wonderlic test?
Quarterbacks and linebackers.
Yes, typically quarterbacks and linebackers. And so the other positions are useful, and there's a high level of intelligence needed to play those positions well. But the higher you go, the more you have to do. I mean, for how long do you think it takes to learn an NFL playbook?
Well, so I saw this guy who was in college, and he played all these different levels of college, and he was on TikTok the other day, and he said when we went to a college, and it was even a D3 college, we had over 250 plays as a linebacker with different positions, different schemes, different plans. And he's like, in high school, it's, Mike right, Sam left or whatever. The more you go, the more complex. And if you listen to these NFL coaches give you like 3 white raggle, 42Z flop, Tursey on 7.
And they do that by just looking at how the guys are lining up before
and
the
you're
snap.
like, what in the world did this guy say?
Well, I think there's a video of of there's videos of quarterbacks doing play calls, but there's a
Yeah.
video of Peyton Manning talking about quarterback play calls,
Yeah.
and he gives one,
Yeah.
and it's like he just gave a dozen instructions
At least. Yeah.
and I have zero
No idea.
idea what he just said.
Right.
I understood the words,
Right.
but I have zero idea. But my point is, in the trades, we don't do that.
Yeah.
In the trades, we get all the practice up front,
Mm-hmm.
and then we stop.
Yeah.
And then we get in the game.
Yeah.
And there's hardly any practice.
Yeah. That's
There's
fair.
all playing.
Yeah.
And what happens is you plateau. Now,
Mhm.
time makes you better as
Sure.
long as you're curious and you gain experience. It makes you better because it's like the farmer's commercial. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
Yeah.
Everybody looks smart after they've been doing something for 10 years, right?
Present company excluded.
Yes. But the point is you got to practice more. And that knowledge and that experience, now we have confidence.
Yeah.
It's hard to have, confidence without competence and experience is arrogance,
Yeah. Agreed.
right?
Yeah.
It's just
Cockiness.
cockiness, exactly right. And so now I want to address fake it till you make it, because sometimes we have to do that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
I don't
mean
wanna
we're
go
a
in-
fake person.
No. But have you seen The Pit? Have you seen The Pit, the show The Pit?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So it's about, a medical
Yeah.
emergency room
In
And-
Pittsburgh.
in Pittsburgh. And
Which
they
is in
had a
Pennsylvania.
student doctor go in to talk to a guy, right? And it was just a simple surgery, whatever. And it wasn't even a surgery, just a simple thing. And all of a sudden, they had a major issue blow up. But what was interesting is if that guy walked in, he's like, hey, I don't really know. I'm a student doctor. I'm kind of new at this. Holy crap, the guy ends up saying, can I have somebody else do this, please? Because I can't trust you, right? And
Yeah.
so there's this place of where, he's not a full doctor. He's not a resident, all this stuff. At the same time.
But he has the knowledge.
He has a knowledge base and he's practicing it out. But there is this fake it till you make it. It's not even fair or good for him to come in and say, just so you know, this is only the 4th time I've done this. That's actually not good. So there's a
No.
place where he's not faking it, but he is presenting himself as an expert because it's not fair to the customer for him not to do that.
Well, I think there's an aspect of leadership to it
Yeah.
as well, and the technician in the home is the leader of that call.
Right. And that's where the
It's
control
not.
comes
It's not.
from.
It's not the customer.
Yeah.
For many reasons we've talked about before, but that control or that confidence aspect, we have to bear in mind that we have the support of the rest of our team. We have the support of manufacturers. So we have the support of experts on our team. And I think another thing that affects confidence is technicians sometimes think they're sent in on their own.
Sure.
And it's a lot of companies, the culture doesn't promote relying on other people
Right.
because maybe the culture overemphasizes individual performance,
Sure.
or whatever. And so you have a situation where rather than ask for help, they don't want to appear weak, so they don't ask for help.
Right.
So they go in knowing or feeling that I can't really call on anybody else.
Right.
So I've got to do it myself, which means I got to Google it. I got to get on ChatGPT. I got to watch a video and I got to stall so I can watch the video before I do the thing because I don't want to call for help or say I can't do it because this is my livelihood and I don't want to be benched,
Right.
And I think in everything there's a certain aspect to that when performance is and
Sure.
doing something right affects a lot of things. Doing something wrong affects a lot of things in a negative way. I think you have that. But I think that is part of the confidence issue we have today is for us senior techs in the trade,
Mhm.
the crusty guys out there, you have got to be open to helping the young guys, even if you don't understand their generation,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You got to be open to it because it's a little different than when you came up. So we got to make sure that the young technicians are getting that support that they need
Mm-hmm.
because we know they can gain knowledge. And I even want to talk about that real quick before we wrap up, is that some senior techs out there are appalled and even offended that this young guy, 22, 23-year-old technician, is working for us, and he had access to all the information that we could ever find on HVAC that he could watch online, and they had to get the textbook.
Right.
Or they had to do it the old school way.
Right, the hard way.
And so there's like, oh, yeah, well, if you're so smart, watch your video and figure it out, kind of thing. And we've got to get rid of that, because competence can't be gained in a vacuum either.
Right.
So to get confidence, you are standing on the shoulders of people that came before, but they have to be willing to let you stand there.
Sure.
Okay. And so you can go do all this knowledge gathering on your own time. You can put in tons of practice that way, but you still need the guidance of a senior people, more knowledgeable people in the trade you're in over time to really fully develop and give substance, real mass to your confidence.
Yeah.
Because once you have confidence, then we can get into control and what control means. But I think what we're going to do, we're going to end it here for this episode, and we'll pick it up in the next episode. We'll kind of come back to this, and we'll talk about what control means and how that's important and how these two things affect control. But just to wrap up this, competence is about knowledge and skill. And when you gain an experience, you gain knowledge, skill, and experience, then that drives confidence to a deeper level, and you have more mass to confidence. And it's like you said at the beginning, confidence, people are, well, maybe, I don't know if did we record that, Alex? What he was saying about, so restate that again.
Yeah, confidence is the most contagious thing about you.
Yeah, because if you're confident, people are willing to follow you. They're willing to listen to you. They're willing to put their trust and faith in you.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, that's what we need the customer to do when you're on a call.
Yeah.
And so some aspect of confidence is your belief in yourself in spite of a lack of knowledge or experience, knowing, though, that you can count on the team around you and the resources you have available to help you figure it out. And I think that goes to, I may not know the answer, but I'm going to find the answer.
Right.
Kind of thing, that kind of attitude. So we're going to pick it up on the next episode with control, and we'll kind of loop all three of these together and put a bow on this.
Nice. Yeah. It's good.
A B-O-W, not a B-E-A-U.
Oh, that's good. Not a French bow.
I didn't want you to think I was speaking French.
Yeah. Parlez-vous français?
That's not part of the process if you're in Canada.
Right. Right.
Right?
Sure.
Okay, so.
Oui. Mais oui, senor. Senor.
What? Did you? What was that?
That was French and Spanish.
Was that Franish?
Franish.
I don't know. I don't
Domo arigato gozaimasu.
Sure. Now give us something in Sudanese.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
Ana kunta sa akin fi Sudan qabli 5 sinin.
Yes, James speaks Sudanese Arabic.
I speed.
You speak Sudanese Arabic. I learned something about Sudan. This is something that you may not know.
Sure it is.
This is a bar trivia game.
Okay.
This is a bar trivia answer.
Let's do it.
Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt.
Yeah, I knew that.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Alex, did you know that? You think you heard it, Alex? That's a cop-out. Come on, man. Own the yes or the no there. He knew that.
He did know that.
Okay. If you want to know more about Sudanese pyramids, don't reach out to me or James for that. But he probably has a little more knowledge on it than I do, and I have zero. Call me, 254-733-7109, or email me at elmore@servextra.com, SERVEXTRA. And if you want to reach James Walker,
James@servextra.com and 254-230-5266.
Go to our website, www.servextra.com. Check out our previous episodes of the podcast. There's probably, I keep changing the number, but there's probably 150 episodes up there.
Yes, you already said 200 a couple times ago.
There could be 200.
250.
Depends on your exchange rate. Metric to stand, whatever. But check it out. You can search and you can find any topic you want. There's probably a couple episodes on that, if not more. You're going to find blog articles, some free downloads and stuff for you. Also, check out our next set of classes coming up in September. They'll be held here in Austin, well, specifically Buda, Texas. So you can find more information about that. You can sign up, like and share the podcast, recommend us to your friends. But until next time, James, what do we do here at Service Excellence?
Chris, at Service Excellence, we turn learning into earning.
At Service Excellence. Bye, everybody.